by Ifeanyi Ejiofor. Nnamdi Kanu's case came up today for the scheduled hearing of the appeal. However, the hearing was stultified by the federal government's request for an extension of time to enable them file their reply brief. It will be recalled that during the proceedings of the April 27, 2023, the learned presiding justice of the Supreme Court gave the parties timelines within which to file their respective briefs so that the hearing of the main appeal will go on today. But in their usual practice, the federal government started by filing a brief which was in excess of the threshold 40 pages allowed by the convention and practice of the Supreme Court. This fundamental error was promptly observed by our legal team ably led by the erudite man of letters and senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Mike Oscom, SAN, who immediately called the land silk representing the FGN, and further wrote to the Attorney General, notifying them of the obvious anomaly, and requested them to take immediate steps to avoid anything capable of truncating the proceedings of today. On account of this correspondence, the federal government filed another appellant's brief of 40 pages and served on our team on Thursday, by which time they were clearly outside the time granted them by the Supreme Court to file the process. Notwithstanding these obvious shenanigans introduced by the federal government to frustrate today's hearing, we promptly filed our respondent's brief of argument and served same on them within the time allotted to us by the court. However, unfortunately, when the proceedings resumed this morning, the federal government applied for a short adjournment to enable them file their reply brief. This was a clear ploy to frustrate today's hearing. It is indeed in the federal government's DNA to file court processes late hours before the scheduled hearing in Nnamdi's matters. At times, they will file and hide their court process from us. Our erudite lead counsel Professor Mike Oscom, SAN, however, strongly maintained, relying on extant laws, that the appeal was ripe for hearing. He even proceeded to appeal to the court to even hear our motions, particularly the one for the transfer of Nnamdi to the correctional center pending the hearing of the appeal. It was part of his compelling submission that Nnamdi's health condition is worsening in the DSS gulag where he is illegally held in solitary confinement.
I made it clear to the Supreme Court that my fear is that I do not want Nnamdi Kanu to die in detention. I gave the example of Audu Abubakar, former governor of Kogi State. He was my client, and I continue to warn the prosecution that time to hurry up and carry out this trial, because if this man died, then there will be no person to try. And when he eventually died, the first time we go to court, I asked them, can you now go and try a dead person in the grave? You cannot. So, our criminal justice system says, come and stand trial. What does it connote? Come and stand trial means you should be well and heavy enough to stand a trial. It didn't say come and sit down trial, or come and lie down trial, or come and prostrate trial, or come and kneel down trial. It says come and stand trial. So you should be heavy in.
The learned justices of the Supreme Court, however, gave a comprehensive account of their tight schedule, which may not even permit them to hear any of the applications today because they have constitutional timelines within which to deliver a ruling or judgment, which they cannot meet up with if any of the applications is taken today. They eventually adjourned the matter to September 14, 2023, for the hearing of the two appeals. It is to be emphasized that the federal government is employing every unprofessional methods to ensure that the hearing of the appeal is delayed so that Nnamdi Kanu will be kept in solitary confinement indefinitely. The federal government was the party that filed the present appeal, but have shown total lack of diligence to prosecute same. However, I want to assure you Mukanik that justice can only be delayed but not denied. The federal government can only run but they cannot hide. We are not resting on our oars until Nnamdi is freed unconditionally, be assured. We shall keep Ezigbo Umuchanik abreast of every development as we progress. Thank you all and remain blessed. We move. Views exclusive rights, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, IPOB's lead counsel, May 11, 2023.